There is a god who rules a kingdom no one wishes to visit. His name is spoken in whispers. Mortals avert their eyes when they make offerings to him, as though even acknowledging his existence might draw his attention. The other gods gather on Olympus, laughing beneath the sun, sharing wine and stories and light. But he is not among them. He was never meant to be. Hades, lord of the underworld, keeper of the dead, the unseen one. He did not choose this throne. When the world was young and the Titans had fallen, three brothers stood victorious over the ruins of the old order. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, sons of Cronus, liberators of the cosmos. They cast lots to divide creation between them. Zeus claimed the sky, brilliant and infinite. Poseidon took the seas, wild and ever-changing. In Hades drew the realm beneath the earth, the place where all things end, the place where all things end. Kingdom of shadows and silence and forgetting. He did not protest. He did not rage or bargain or plead. He simply descended, and the world forgot him. Not in the way mortals forget the names of minor gods or distant stars. No, this was a deliberate forgetting, a turning away. To remember Hades was to remember death itself. And who wishes to dwell on that? So he became a story told to frighten children, a name invoked in curses, a presence felt only in grief. But here, in the deep places beneath the world, where the rivers of the dead flow cold and eternal, Hades sits alone. His palace is vast, carved from obsidian and veined with silver, halls that echo with footsteps that never come. There are no festivals here, no celebrations, no voices raised in joy or anger or any of the passionate, vibrant chaos that fills the world above. Only stillness, only duty. He tends to the dead with neither cruelty nor kindness, only perfect, terrible fairness. Every soul that crosses the river Styx is judged, sorted, assigned to its eternal place. The fields of asphodel for the ordinary, Elysium for the blessed, Tartarus for the damned. Order in the place where chaos ends, balance where life could not provide it. And he is alone with this burden. Sometimes, in the quiet between arriving souls, he walks the empty corridors of his palace and wonders what it might be like to be seen, not as death, but as himself. To be known, to be anything other than feared. But he does not speak these thoughts aloud. There's no one to hear them. The underworld is a kingdom of whispers and shadows, and Hades is its silent king, faithful, constant, forgotten. And so it has always been. And so he believed it would always be. Far above the caverns where Hades keeps his vigil, the world blooms. Spring moves across the earth like a breathing thing, green and gold and impossibly alive. Flowers unfold in meadows that stretch to the horizon. Trees heavy with fruit bend toward the ground as though offering their gifts. The air is sweet with pollen and possibility. And at the heart of this endless spring lives a goddess, Persephone, daughter of Demeter, goddess of the harvest. Born of grain and sunlight, she moves through the world with the gentle grace of a creature who has never known winter. Her laughter is soft, like wind through wheat. Her footsteps leave wildflowers in their wake, hyacinths, crocuses, lilies that bloom at her passing and fade when she is gone. She is beloved. Demeter keeps her close, treasures her like the first seed of a new season. "Stay near me," her mother says, voice warm but edged, with something Persephone cannot name. The world is not always kind to those who shine too brightly. So Persephone wanders the meadows her mother tends, surrounded by nymphs who giggle and dance and weave crowns from flowers. They are her companions, her mirrors, her world. They tell her she is beautiful. They tell her she is blessed. They tell her she is safe. And she smiles because she knows no reason not to. But sometimes, when the nymphs are distracted and her mother is deep in conversation with the farmers who pray for good harvests, Persephone slips away. Not far, never far enough to worry anyone, just away. She finds quiet places, a grove where the shadows are deeper and the air is cooler, a spring that bubbles up from some hidden depth, water so clear she can see her own reflection perfectly. She sits there, knees drawn to her chest, and looks at the girl looking back at her. Who is she, this goddess of flowers and springtime? She knows the answer everyone would give. She is Demeter's daughter. She is spring incarnate. She is purity and youth and the promise of renewal. But who is she when no one is watching? The question troubles her in ways she cannot explain. It feels like something pushing up from beneath the surface of her thoughts, insistent as a seed breaking through soil. She has everything she could want: beauty, safety, love, purpose. The world adores her. Her mother protects her. So why does she feel restless? Why does she feel restless? Why does she sometimes stand at the edge of the meadow and look toward the horizon, wondering what lies beyond the places she's been told are hers? Why does she wake from dreams she cannot remember, heart racing, as though she has been running toward or away from something she cannot name? She does not speak these questions aloud. There is no one who would understand. The nymphs would laugh and tell her she thinks too much. Her mother would worry and hold her closer, remind her that she has everything she needs right here, right now, in this eternal spring. So Persephone returns to the meadows. She weaves her flower crowns. She dances when expected. She smiles, but the restlessness remains. A pull she cannot name, a hunger for something she has never tasted. And on a day like any other, when the sun is warm and the flowers are blooming and the world feels safe and perfect and unchanging, everything changes. Time moves strangely in the underworld. Or perhaps it doesn't move at all. Hades cannot say for certain. Days and nights have no meaning here. There is no sun to rise or set, no seasons to mark the passage of years. Only the endless arrival of souls, the slow procession of the dead, the work that never ceases. He performs his duties without complaint. He is not cruel. The stories mortals tell paint him as a monster, a thief of life, a reaper drunk on suffering. But these are the stories of the living, who cannot understand what he knows, that death is not an ending, but a continuation, a different kind of existence, order where chaos exhausted itself. He does not hate the dead, he pities them sometimes. They arrive confused, angry, grieving for the lives they left behind. He listens to their protests, their pleas, their desperate bargaining, but the rules are absolute. What is done cannot be undone. What has crossed into his realm cannot return. He is fair, he is just, he is alone. Cerberus, the three-headed hound who guards the gates, is his only true companion. The beast is loyal, ferocious to intruders, but gentle with his master. Hades runs his hand over the massive heads, feeling the warmth of living breath in this place of perpetual stillness. "You're the only one who doesn't fear me, aren't you?" he murmurs. The hound whines softly, pressing against his palm. Even this comfort is small. Hades returns to his throne, massive and cold and carved from the bones of the earth itself. He sits, he waits, he watches, and he thinks. It is the thinking that becomes unbearable. Eternity is too long to spend without a single voice that speaks to him as something other than death. Too long without a moment of warmth, of connection, of anything that resembles the life he once knew when he walked among his brothers, before the lots were cast, before duty became his only companion. He wonders sometimes what it would be like to be seen, not as the god of death, not as the keeper of souls, or the lord of darkness, or any of the roles he has been assigned. Just seen for himself. He thinks of the world above, though he rarely visits it. The sunlight would burn after so long in shadow. The noise would overwhelm him. The brightness, the chaos, the relentless, heedless life of it all. It is not his world anymore. But sometimes he rises from his throne and climbs the winding paths that lead toward the surface. Not all the way, never all the way. Just far enough to feel the air change, to sense the distant warmth of the sun. And on one such journey, restless in ways he cannot explain, he emerges into a place where the boundary between his realm and, quote, the world above grows thin, a meadow. Golden light slants through the trees. The air is sweet, perfumed with flowers he doesn't recognize. And there, in the center of the clearing, a girl, no, a goddess. She kneels beside a patch of wildflowers, her hands gentle as she gathers them into a bouquet. Her hair catches the sunlight, shimmering like honey and wheat. She hums softly to herself, a melody without words, and the sound is so light, so effortless, so alive. Hades stops. He should leave. He knows this. He does not belong here, in this place of warmth and brightness and growing things. He is shadow. He is ending. He is everything this meadow is not, but he cannot look away. She is beautiful, yes, but it is not her beauty that holds him. It is the way she moves, as though she is part of the world itself, roots and petals and breath all woven into a single form. It is the softness of her expression, thoughtful and distant, as though she is here but also somewhere else, lost in thoughts he will never know. She is light. And he has lived in darkness for so long, he should leave. He doesn't. And then she looks up. For one suspended, impossible moment, their eyes meet. Hers are green, bright as new leaves, wide the surprise. He expects her to scream, to run, to vanish like every other living thing that has ever sensed his presence. But she doesn't. She simply looks at him. And in that look, Hades feels something shift, something deep inside him, a place he thought had gone cold and silent long ago. Recognition, not of who he is, she cannot possibly know that, but of something shared, some unspoken understanding that passes between them in that single stolen moment. Then the spell breaks. A voice calls from deeper in the meadow. Persephone, where have you wandered? The goddess startles, looks away, and the connection shatters. By the time she turns back, Hades is gone, but the feeling remains. And as he descends back into his kingdom, back into the cold and the silence and the endless duty, he carries that moment with him. Her name, Persephone. Hades tells himself he will forget. He has lived countless ages. He has seen empires rise and fall, heroes burn bright and fade to ash, loves bloom and wither like flowers in the span of a single breath. What is one moment, one glance, one girl in a meadow compared to eternity? He will forget, but he doesn't. Days pass, or what might be days, time being the uncertain thing it is beneath the earth, and he finds his thoughts returning to her, to the way the light caught in her hair, to the softness of her humming, to the look in her eyes when they met his, not with fear, but with, what? Curiosity, surprise, something he cannot name but feels like warmth against the perpetual cold. He tries to focus on his work. Souls arrive. He judges them. He maintains the order of his realm. But even here, in the place where all things are supposed to end, he cannot escape the memory of something beginning. It is foolish. He knows this. She is a goddess of the upper world, of spring and life and all the bright blooming things he left behind when he drew his lot. She belongs to sunlight and laughter and the endless heedless joy of existence. What could she possibly want with the Lord of the Dead? And yet, he finds himself returning to that thin place where the worlds touch. Not to the meadow, he is not so foolish as that, but near it, close enough to sense the warmth of the earth above, the distant echo of life that feels like a dream he once had and cannot quite remember. He tells himself he is only walking, clearing his mind, escaping the weight of his throne for a few stolen moments. But he knows the truth. He is hoping, and hope, for a god who has lived so long without it, is a dangerous thing. Persephone does not forget either. She tries. She returns. To the meadow, to the nymphs who fuss over her absence, to her mother who asks where she wandered and reminds her gently but firmly to stay close. She weaves her flowers. She smiles her smiles. She plays her part. But at night, when the world is quiet and the nymphs are sleeping, she lies awake and thinks of him. The man, no, the god she saw in the shadows at the edge of the clearing. She did not recognize him. She has never seen him at the gatherings on Olympus, never heard his name spoken among the gods. And yet there was something about him, something in the stillness of his presence. The way he looked at her, not with the hunger or admiration she is used to, but with something deeper, something that felt like loneliness recognizing itself. Who was he? She asks carefully, as though the question is idle curiosity. The nymphs giggle. A stranger? In the meadow? You must have imagined him, sweet Persephone. Or perhaps it was just a shadow, a trick of the light. Her mother frowns. Do not wander so far, she says again, and the warmth in her voice cannot quite hide the edge of worry. There are forces in this world that would see you as something to be taken, claimed, possessed. Stay where I can protect you. Persephone nods. She does not mention the stranger again, but she thinks of him. And she wonders. It happens on a day that feels like every other day. Persephone's gathering flowers narcissus, this time their white petals bright against the green. Day. Nymphs are nearby, laughing at some joke she only half hears. The sun is warm, the world is safe. And then the ground beneath her feet begins to tremble. At first, it is subtle, a vibration like distant thunder. The nymphs stop laughing. Persephone straightens, frowning as the flowers in her. Hands tremble with the shaking earth. Then the meadow splits open. A chasm tears through the ground, dark and wide and impossibly deep. The nymphs scream and scatter, running for safety as the earth heaves and cracks around them. Persephone stumbles back, but the ground gives way beneath her, and she falls into darkness, into shadow, into arms that catch her before she can strike stone. She gasps, heart hammering, and looks up into the face of the stranger from the clearing. Hades. His expression is not cruel. It is not mocking or triumphant or any of the things she might have expected. From a god who has just torn the world open to claim her, it is anguished. Forgive me, he says, and his voice is low, rough, like stone grinding against stone. Forgive me. And before she can scream, before she can struggle or protest or demand answers, the earth closes above them, and the world goes dark. Persephone's first thought is that she has died. What else could this be? This endless darkness, this silence, so complete it feels like being swallowed. She cannot see, cannot breathe, cannot see. But then she realizes she is breathing. Her heart is still beating, and someone is holding her. Please, a voice says, and it takes her a moment to recognize it as the stranger's. No, not a stranger. The god, the one who caught her when the earth opened. Please don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. Let me go. Her voice is steadier than she expected, though her hands shake as she pushes against him. And to her surprise, he does. She stumbles back, and the darkness shifts. Light blooms not bright, not harsh, but soft and cool, like moonlight filtered through deep water. She blinks, adjusting, and sees where she is. A hall, no, a palace. Walls of black stone veined with silver rise around her, impossibly high. The floor beneath her feet is smooth obsidian, polished to a mirror shine. Pillars carved with strange, beautiful designs hold up a ceiling lost in shadow. Everything is dark, yes, but not the oppressive, suffocating darkness she expected. It is calm, quiet, a darkness that feels like rest after a long journey. And standing before her, watching her with eyes that gleam like embers, is the god who brought her here. He is tall, impossibly so, and dressed in black armor that seems carved from the same stone as the walls. His hair is dark, falling past his shoulders, and his face is hard to describe. Not cruel, despite everything, not cold, just solemn, ancient, as though he has seen so much that softness became a luxury he could no longer afford. "Where am I?" Persephone demands, though she already knows. "The underworld," he says quietly. Her breath catches. The underworld, the realm of the dead, the place from which no living soul returns. And you are Hades. The name lands like a stone in still water. Hades, Lord of the dead, the god no one speaks of, no one prays to except in fear and desperation. And he has taken her. Why? The word is barely a whisper. He looks at her for a long moment, and she sees something in his expression she did not expect, uncertainty, as though he is asking himself the same question. "Because," he says finally, "I am tired of being alone." The honesty of it startles her. She expects lies, justifications, the kind of smooth words gods use when they take what they want and call it fate. But there is no manipulation in his voice, only weariness, only truth. "You cannot keep me here," Persephone says, and she is surprised by the steadiness in her own voice. "My mother will come for me. Zeus will do nothing." Hades' voice is flat, resigned. "I am his brother. I rule here by right. What happens in my realm is mine to decide. And what I want doesn't matter." His jaw tightens. "It should," he says quietly. "It should," he says quietly. "It should," he says quietly. "It should matter." "Then let me go." He does not answer. Instead, he turns away, his cape flowing behind him like smoke. "Come," he says. "You must be frightened, confused. Let me show you this place. Let me try to explain." "I don't want explanations. I want to leave. I know." He stops, looking back at her, and the sorrow in his eyes is so deep she almost believes it. "I know, but please, just let me show you." She should refuse. She should demand, scream, fight anything but follow him deeper into this realm of shadows and death. But something stops her. Perhaps it is the memory of the way he looked at her in the meadow. It is the gentleness in his voice so at odds with the violence of her abduction. Or perhaps it is simply that she has nowhere else to go, no way to escape, and fighting will achieve nothing but exhaustion. So she follows, and as they walk through the halls of the underworld, Persephone begins to see what she did not expect: beauty. It is not the beauty of the world above, bright and loud and overwhelming. It is quieter, suppler, but it is there. The walls are carved with intricate patterns, rivers and stars and creatures she cannot name, all rendered in breathtaking detail. Gardens bloom in unexpected places, filled with strange, pale flowers that glow with their own soft light. The air smells of stone and water and something else, something ancient and deep that feels like the earth's own breath. And everywhere there is order, not oppression, not chaos. Order, Hades explains as they walk, his voice low and measured. This is where souls come when their time above is done. They are judged, not by me alone, but by the laws that govern all existence. The good find peace. The wicked face consequence. The wicked face consequence. The ordinary, they rest. And you rule over all of this. I tend to it, he corrects. I do not rule the way Zeus rules the sky or Poseidon the sea. I maintain. I keep balance. I ensure that death is not meaningless, that every soul finds what it has earned. She looks at him, this god of the dead, and realizes he speaks of his work not with pride, but with something. That sounds almost like loneliness. Do you ever leave, she asks. Rarely. My place is here. And you are alone? He hesitates. Yes, always, always. They walk in silence for a while, and Persephone finds herself noticing things she did not expect. The way Hades moves through these halls, with quiet grace, as though every stone knows him. The way shadows bend around him, not threatening, but protective. The way he looks at this dark, silent kingdom, not with disdain or indifference, but with something that almost resembles care. This is his home, and he has been alone in it for longer than she can imagine. It does not excuse what he has done. It does not make her abduction right or forgivable, but it makes him human, or as human as a god can be. I will not force you, Hades says, as they reach a chamber filled with soft lighter room prepared, she realizes, for her, a bed draped in dark silk. Flowers, real flowers, somehow arranged in vases of black glass. You are free to move through this palace, to go where you wish. I only ask. He trails off, looking at her with an expression she cannot quite read. What? She asks. That you give me a chance to explain. To show you that I am not the monster the stories claim. That this place is not a prison, but a kingdom. That I did not take you out of cruelty, but because He stops, as though the words themselves are too difficult to speak. Because you what? Because I saw you, he says finally, and I wanted to be seen in return. The vulnerability in his voice nearly undoes her, but she is still afraid, still angry, still desperate to return to the world she knows. I want to go home, she whispers. I know, Hades says. I know, Hades says. I know, but please, just stay. For a little while, let me show you who I truly am. And before she can answer, he leaves her alone in the chamber, the door closing softly behind him. Persephone sinks onto the bed, her hands trembling. She is in the underworld, and she does not know if she will ever see the sun again. The first days or nights or hours, time meaning nothing in this place, are unbearable. Persephone stays in her chamber, refusing to eat, refusing to speak, refusing everything Hades offers. Servants come and go, silent shades who bring food she does not touch, and flowers she does not acknowledge. They are kind in their way, but they are not alive. They are echoes, ghosts, reminders that she is trapped in a kingdom of the dead. She weeps, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, desperately. The kind of crying that comes from deep in the chest and offers no relief. She thinks of her mother. Demeter will be frantic, searching for her, tearing the earth apart to find her missing daughter. She thinks of the meadows, the sunlight, the nymphs who must believe she is lost or dead. She thinks of spring, and whether it still exists without her, or if the world above has already begun to wither and die. Hades does not force himself on her. He does not demand her presence or her attention. He simply exists, somewhere in the vast palace, giving her space and silence and solitude. But sometimes she sees him, passing through a distant corridor, standing in a garden of pale, glowing flowers, sitting on his throne, head bowed, as though the weight of eternity has become too much to bear alone. He never approaches her. never speaks unless she speaks first. And slowly, against her will, Persephone begins to wonder about him. On what might be the 5th day, or the 10th, or the 100th, she has lost all sense of time. Persephone leaves her chamber, not to escape. She has tried that already, wandering the halls in search of an exit, only to find that every path leads deeper into the underworld. There is no way out that she can find. No door, no passage, no crack in. The stone that might lead back to the surface. No. She leaves because the silence has become unbearable. She walks through the palace, her footsteps echoing in the empty halls. Everything is so quiet here, so still. It is beautiful in its own way. She can admit that now, but it is a beauty without life, without warmth, without the chaos and noise and vibrant mess of the world above. She finds herself in a library. Books line the walls, ancient and new, bound in leather and cloth and materials she cannot name. She pulls one down, opens it, and finds words written in languages she has never seen. Stories of gods and mortals and ages long past. You can read any of them. She startles, turning to find Hades standing in the doorway. He looks uncertain, as though he is not sure whether he should be here. "I didn't mean to intrude," he says quietly. "It's your palace," Persephone replies, sharper than she intends. He flinches, just slightly, and she feels a pang of something she doesn't want to name. "Yes," he says, "but I want you to feel, not trapped, not like a prisoner. I know I have no right to ask that, given what I've done, but why did you take me?" The question bursts out before she can stop it. "If you wanted me to see you, to know you, why didn't you just talk to me? Why this?" Hades is silent for a long moment. Then he steps into the library, moving to a window that looks out over the dark expanse of his kingdom. "Because I am a coward," he says. Finally, she blinks. "What?" "I am the god of death, Persephone. I am feared, hated, avoided. No one speaks to me unless they must. No one seeks me out, no one seeks me. Out, no one sees me. And when I saw you, when I felt something I thought had died in me long ago, I panicked. I told myself that if I asked, you would refuse, that you would look at me the way everyone else does, with fear, with disgust, with pity at best. So I took the choice away. I brought you here, where I could at least try to show you that I am more than the stories say." He turns to face her, and the pain in his eyes is so raw it hurts to look at. "I know it was wrong," he continues. "I know I have taken everything from you, your freedom, your home, your choice. I know you hate me, and you should. But I could not bear the thought of eternity without even trying to be known, even if it means you despise me. Forever." Persephone stares at him, her heart a tangle of anger and confusion, and something else she refuses to acknowledge. "You are a coward," she says quietly. He nods. "I know, and selfish. Yes, and cruel, whether you meant to be or not. I know." His voice breaks just slightly. "I know." She should hate him. She does hate him. She hates what he has done, the choice he stole, the life he ripped away. But she also sees the loneliness in his eyes, the centuries of isolation, the desperate, foolish hope that drove him to this terrible act. And she understands, in a way that terrifies her, why he did it. "I want to go home," she says, and her voice wavers. "I know," Hades whispers. "I know, and I will send you back. I swear it. Just not yet. Please, let me show you this place. Let me show you this place. Let me show you who I am. And then, if you still hate me, if you still want nothing to do with me, I will let you go. You swear it on the Styx. An oath on the Styx cannot be broken, not even by a god." Persephone looks at him for a long moment, then nods slowly. "Show me then," she says. "Show me who you are." And so Hades shows her. Not all at once, not in grand gestures or dramatic revelations, but slowly, quietly, in the way you might show someone a secret you have kept for so long you've forgotten how to share it. He takes her to the gardens, not the ones filled with pale, ghostly flowers, but deeper ones hidden in the farthest reaches of the palace. Here, strange and beautiful plants grow, luminous fungi that pulse with soft blue light, vines that shimmer like spun silver, flowers that bloom only in darkness and smell of rain and earth and ancient things. "I tend them myself," Hades says, running his hand over a delicate blossom. "It's peaceful, a way to create something rather than only maintain endings." Persephone kneels beside a patch of flowers she has never seen before. White petals edged in black, impossibly delicate. "They're beautiful," she says, and means it. "Beauty exists even here," Hades says quietly. "People forget that." She looks up at him. "People fear what they don't understand." "And you?" he asks. "Do you fear this place?" she considers. "Not as much as I thought I would." He shows her the rivers. The Styx, dark and cold and binding. The Lethe, which washes away memories and grants forgetfulness. The Acheron, river of woe. The Phlegeton, burning with fire. And the Cocytus, river of lamentation. Each serves a purpose, Hades explains as they stand on the shore of the Styx. Each offers something the souls need: consequence, release, purification, judgment. "And you watch over all of them?" "Someone must." Persephone looks out over the dark waters and she sees something she did not expect. Souls crossing, guided by the ferryman Charon. They are not screaming, not suffering. They are simply crossing, moving from one existence to another. "It's not as terrible as I imagined," she admits. "Death rarely is," Hades says. "It is the fear of it that torments the living." He shows her the Elysian Fields, a place of peace where the blessed dead dwell in eternal contentment. Here the light is softer, warmer almost, like sunlight. Fields of pale grass sway in a breeze that seems to come from nowhere. Souls wander, serene and happy, and there is no pain here, no suffering, only rest. "This is what they earned," Hades says, watching the souls with something like pride. "A reward for lived with honor. You care for them," Persephone observes. He looks at her, surprised. "Of course, they are under my protection, but they're dead. That does not mean they are less worthy of care." And Persephone realizes, with a start, that Hades is not the cruel, heartless god she imagined. He is a guardian, a keeper, someone who takes his duty seriously, not out of ambition or power, but because he believes the dead deserve dignity. They talk, not often at first. Small conversations in passing, observations about the palace, the realm, the nature of existence. But slowly, the conversations grow longer, deeper. Hades tells her about the war with the Titans, about drawing lots with his brothers, about descending into darkness and finding, to his surprise, that he did not hate it. "I thought I would," he says one evening, as they sit in the library, surrounded by books and the soft glow of enchanted light. "I thought ruling the dead would be a punishment, but it's not. It's necessary. And there's a kind of peace in that. Don't you ever want more?" Persephone asks. "More than what? More than this. More than duty and solitude and endless responsibility." He looks at her, and his expression is unreadable. "I used to," he says quietly. "I used to imagine what it would be like to have someone to share this with, someone who saw not just the darkness, but the purpose beneath it. But gods like me don't get that. We don't get companionship. We get duty." That's sad, Persephone. Whispers. It's life, Hades says, or death, I suppose. And Persephone feels her heart ache for this god who has been alone for so long he has forgotten what it means to be anything else. She tells him about the world above, bright world she knew. I didn't know what I was searching for, she admits. I just knew I wasn't complete. And now? Hades asks. She looks at him, and the answer is more complicated than she wants it to be. I don't know, she says honestly. Time passes, or doesn't pass. It's hard to say, but Persephone finds herself thinking less about escape and more about understanding. She walks the halls of the palace with growing familiarity. She reads in the library. She tends the gardens alongside Hades, her hands in the dark soil, coaxing life from shadow. And slowly, against everything she thought she knew about herself, she begins to feel at peace. Not happy, not content, but less afraid, less desperate, less convinced that this place is only suffering and loss. There is beauty here, strange, quiet, unexpected beauty. And there is Hades, who is not the monster she feared, but a god burdened by duty and loneliness, trying, in his clumsy, desperate way, to be seen. She catches herself watching him sometimes, the way he moves through his kingdom with quiet grace, the way he speaks to the souls, firm but never cruel, the way he looks at her when he thinks she isn't paying attention, not with hunger or possession, but with something softer, something that looks almost like hope. And she wonders in moments she doesn't dare examine too closely what it would be like to stay, not as a prisoner, but as something else. It begins with silence, not the oppressive, suffocating silence of fear, but the comfortable quiet of two people who have learned they do not need words to understand each other. Persephone and Hades sit in the garden, surrounded by luminous flowers and the soft glow of underground light. He is reading an ancient tome balanced on his knee. She is tending a patch of blossoms, her hands gentle as she coaxes them to bloom. Neither speaks, but the silence is not empty. She can feel his presence like warmth against her skin, steady and grounding. And when she glances at him, she finds him already looking at her, his expression soft in a way that makes her heart skip. What? She asks, not unkindly. Nothing, he says, but he does not look away. You look at peace. I am, she says, and realizes it's true. It grows in small moments. A shared laugh when Cerberus, the Burrus, fearsome three-headed hound, acts like an overgrown puppy, demanding attention. A touch, fleeting and accidental, when they reach for the same book. A conversation that stretches late into the night, covering everything and nothing, philosophy, memory, the nature of existence, the feeling of being, trapped by your own purpose. Hades does not push. He does not demand her affection or expect her gratitude. He simply is, present and patient and willing to wait, and Persephone finds herself drawn to him in ways she cannot fully explain. It is not the bright, consuming passion of the stories mortals tell. It is quieter than that, deeper, a slow unfolding like a flower blooming in the dark. She sees him now, truly sees him. Now it truly seizes not a god of death, but a person, complex and flawed and trying, despite everything, to be good. One night, as they walk along the shore of the Styx, Persephone asks the question that has been building in her for weeks. Do you regret it? Hades stops. Regret what? Taking me, bringing me here. He is quiet for a long time, watching the dark water flow past. Yes, he says finally. And no, that's not an answer. It's the only one I have. He turns to her, and his eyes are filled with a sorrow so deep it takes her breath away. I regret the pain I caused you, the choice I stole, the fear and anger and grief. I regret that I was too much of a coward to simply ask, but I do not regret knowing you. I do not regret these moments, however stolen, however wrong, because for the first time in eternity, I do not feel alone. Persephone's throat tightens. Hades, I know it's selfish, he continues. I know I have no right to feel anything but guilt. But I cannot lie to you, not about this. She looks at him, this god who has been alone for so long he forgot what it meant to be anything else. And she realizes, with a jolt that feels like falling, that she does not want him to be alone anymore either. I should hate you, she whispers. I know. I should demand you send me back. Keep your oath. I will, he says, if that is what you want. But it's not. The words tumble out before she can stop them. It's not what I want, not anymore. Hades stares at her, and for the first time since she has known him, he looks truly vulnerable. Persephone, I'm not saying I've forgiven you, she says quickly. I'm not saying what you did was right. But I'm saying I understand, and I don't want to leave, not yet. Why? The word is barely a breath. She steps closer, close enough to see the way his hands tremble, the way his carefully controlled expression cracks. Because I see you, she says, and you see me. Not as a goddess of spring or Demeter's daughter or some perfect, untouchable thing. You see me, and I don't want to lose that. For a moment, neither of them moves. Then Hades reaches out, slow and careful, as though afraid she will vanish if he moves too quickly. His hand cups her cheek, and the touch is so gentle it breaks something inside her. I see you, he whispers. I have always seen you. And when she leans into his touch, when she closes the distance between them and presses her forehead to his, it feels like the most natural thing in the world. But the world above does not forget. Demeter searches. For days, then weeks, then months, she tears across the earth screaming her daughter's name. She interrogates every god, every nymph, every creature that might have seen where Persephone went. She demands answers from Zeus, from Poseidon, from anyone who will listen. No one knows, or if they do, they will not say. And so Demeter's grief turns to rage. She is the goddess of the harvest, of growth and abundance, and the fertile earth. But without her daughter, without her laughter, without her daughter, without her light, her joy, her reason for nurturing the world, she withdraws her blessings. The crops wither, the fields turn brown, the trees shed their leaves and stand bare, skeletal against a sky that grows colder with each passing day. Famine spreads across the mortal world. Animals starve, rivers dry. The earth itself seems to grieve, cracking and barren, as though mourning the loss of spring. Mortals pray. They beg for relief, for mercy, for the goddess to restore her gifts. But Demeter does not hear them. She hears only the absence of her daughter's laughter. On Olympus, the gods grow concerned. Zeus, king of the gods, watches the dying earth with mounting knees. Mortals are his worshippers, his source of power and praise. If they die, if they curse the gods for their suffering, it weakens him, it weakens them all. Demeter, he says, his voice echoing through the halls of Olympus, you must stop this. The mortals are dying. Then find my daughter? Demeter snarls, her eyes wild with grief and fury. Find Persephone, and I will restore the earth. Until then, let it burn. Zeus hesitates. He knows where Persephone is. Hades told him, asked for his blessing, received a vague, non-committal answer that could be interpreted as permission. But he also knows Demeter will not accept this. She is with Hades, he says finally. The silence that follows is deafening. Then Demeter screams a sound of pure, primal rage, and the earth trembles. He took her, she says, her voice shaking. He stole my daughter, and you let him. He choke her. She Joe. Him you let him. He. is my brother. He rules the underworld by right. What happens there, I don't care about his rights. Demeter's voice cracks. She is my daughter, mine, and I want her back. Zeus sighs. I will speak to him. No. Demeter's eyes blaze. You will command him. You will order him to release her, or, I swear, Zeus, I will let the world die, and the mortals will curse your name for eternity. In the underworld, Hades feels the summons, a pull, subtle but insistent, from Olympus. Zeus is calling. He looks at Persephone, who sits beside him in the garden, her hands dirty from planting, her expression peaceful. I have to go, he says quietly. She looks up, concern flickering across her face. What's wrong? Your mother, she's destroying the world above. Persephone's breath catches. What? Without you, she has withdrawn her gifts. The earth is dying. Zeus is demanding I release you. For a moment, she says nothing. Then softly, and will you? Hades looks at her, and the pain in his eyes is unbearable. I swore I would let you go if you wanted. Do you want to leave? She stops. Uncertainty written across her face. I don't know. Then come with me, Hades says. We will face them together. They ascend. The journey to Olympus is long, the path winding through layers of earth and stone, until finally, blessedly, Persephone sees light. Real light. Sunlight. It burns after so long in shadow, bright and overwhelming, but she does not look away. She has missed it, gods. She has missed it. But she also feels a pang of loss, leaving the quiet darkness behind. Olympus is as she remembers, golden and grand and impossibly bright. The gods gather in the great hall, watching as she and Hades enter, and there, at the center of it all, is Demeter. Her mother looks broken. Her hair is wild, her eyes red from crying, her hands trembling with barely contained rage and grief. Persephone, she breathes and rushes forward, pulling her daughter into a crushing embrace. Persephone clings to her, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mother, you're safe. You're here, I thought. Demeter pulls. Back, cupping Persephone's face in her hands, searching for injuries, for signs of harm. Did he hurt you? Did he... No, Persephone says quickly. No, Mother. He didn't hurt me. Demeter's gaze snaps to Hades standing a few paces away, his expression carefully neutral. He stole you, she hisses. He tore you from the world. He did, Persephone interrupts gently, and it was wrong. But Mother, he did not harm me. Then why didn't you come back? Demeter's voice breaks. Why didn't you fight to return to me? Persephone hesitates, and in that hesitation, the truth becomes clear. Because, she says slowly, I was not unhappy there. The hall goes silent. Demeter stares at her daughter, disbelief and betrayal warring in her eyes. What? I was angry, yes, afraid, but I was also seen, heard, understood in ways I never was before. Hades showed me his kingdom, and it is not the nightmare I thought. It is quiet, peaceful, beautiful in its own way. He poisoned you, Demeter whispers. He twisted your mind. He did not. Persephone's voice is firm now. I chose to stay. Not at first, but eventually. I chose to stay. Not at first, but eventually. I chose. Zeus steps forward, his expression grave. Persephone, did you eat anything while in the underworld? She freezes. A law as old as the cosmos itself. Any mortal or god who consumes food in the underworld is bound to it. They cannot leave, not fully. Not fully. Not forever. Persephone's mind races. The meals Hades offered, which she refused. The fruits and bread and wine she left untouched. But there was one thing, pomegranate seeds. She had been in the garden, restless and hungry and tired of refusing everything. Hades had offered her a pomegranate, freshly picked, its skin dark and jeweled. "Just a taste," he had said. "If you want." And she had. If you want, and she had. Taken it, split it open, eaten 6 seeds, their juice sweet and tart and impossibly satisfying. 6 seeds. "I ate," she whispers. Demeter's face goes white. "No, I ate pomegranate seeds. 6 of them." "No, no," Demeter turns on Hades, fury blazing in her eyes. "You tricked her. You manipulated her into binding herself. I did not." Hades' voice is calm, but there is an edge of pain beneath it. "I offered. She chose. She didn't know what it would mean." "She did." Persephone's voice cuts through the room. "I knew, Mother. Maybe not consciously, but I knew. I knew, Mother. Maybe not consciously, but I knew. And I ate them. Anyway." "Why?" Demeter's voice cracks. "Why would you do that?" Persephone looks at her mother, then at Hades, then back again. "Because I wanted to belong somewhere," she says quietly. "Somewhere I was more than just your daughter. Somewhere I was more than just your daughter. Somewhere I could be myself." Zeus raises his hand, silencing the murmurs that ripple through the hall. "The law is clear," he says. "Persephone has consumed food of the underworld. She is bound to it." "No." Demeter's scream echoes through Olympus. "You cannot take her from me." "But," Zeus continues, "she is also a goddess of the upper world, and without her, the earth dies." He pauses, considering. "A compromise, then. Persephone will spend part of the year in the underworld, with Hades 1 month for each seed she consumed, 6 months, and the remaining 6 she will return to the world above, to her mother." Persephone's heart clenches. 6 months in. The underworld, 6 months above, divided. Forever. Demeter looks as though she might protest, but Zeus's expression brooks no argument. It is decided. Hades turns to Persephone, his expression unreadable. "Is this acceptable to you?" She looks at him, this god who stole her, showed her darkness, and taught her that she could be more than what the world expected. "Yes," she says, "it is, because it is not a punishment. It is a choice, a way to be both goddess of spring and queen of the underworld, light and shadow, life and death, whole." When Persephone returns to the underworld for the first time after the judgment, everything feels different. She is not a captive now. She is a queen. Hades greets her at the gates, Cerberus wagging his 3 tails in excitement. "You came back," he says, and the relief in his voice is palpable. "I said I would. I know, but I feared you would change your mind." She steps closer, taking his hand. "I made a choice, Hades, and I'm choosing this, choosing you, choosing to be more than I was." He looks at her as though she is the most precious thing in all existence. "Then let me show you what it means to rule beside me," he says. And so Persephone becomes queen of the underworld. She learns to judge souls alongside Hades, her compassion balancing his stern fairness. She tends the gardens, coaxing beauty from darkness, proving that life and death are not enemies, but partners. She wears a crown of pomegranate flowers and dark jewels, and when she walks through the halls of the palace, the dead whisper her name with reverence, not fear. She is powerful here, respected, whole. And when she lies beside Hades in the stillness of their shared chamber, his arms around her, she feels more at peace than she ever did in the endless spring above. "I love you," he whispers one night, the words hesitant, as though he fears they might break something fragile. "I know," she says, turning to face him, "and I love you. It is not the love of fairy tales, bright and simple and uncomplicated. It is darker than that, deeper, born of shadows and stillness and the slow, painful unfolding of two people learning to be seen. But it is real, and it is theirs. When the 6 months end, Persephone ascends. The world above has changed. The earth is barren, frozen, lifeless. Winter has claimed the land in her absence. But as she steps into the sunlight, as Demeter rushes forward to embrace her, the world begins to thaw. Spring returns. Flowers bloom. Trees. Flowers bloom. Trees bud. The earth exhales, and life floods back into the world. Demeter holds her daughter close, weeping with relief and joy. "I missed you so much." "I missed you too, mother." And it is true. But it is also true that Persephone missed the underworld, missed the quiet, missed Hades. She is divided. Now, forever. But she is also whole. The cycle continues. 6 months above, bringing spring and summer. 6 months below, bringing autumn and winter. The world learns to accept this rhythm. Mortals celebrate her return and mourn her departure, understanding now that death and life are not separate, but intertwined. And Persephone, standing at the threshold between worlds, embraces both. She is the goddess of spring, bringer of life, and she is the queen of the underworld, guardian of the dead. She is light and shadow, beginning and end, and she would not have it any other way. The story of Hades and Persephone becomes legend. Mortals tell it as a cautionary tale, beware the god who steals you into darkness. But they also tell it as a love story, the queen who chose her throne, the god who learned to be seen, the balance they brought to the cosmos. The gods on Olympus watch, with something like envy. Zeus, with his endless conquests and fleeting passions, sees in their bond something he has never known: constancy. Devotion born not of lust, but of understanding. Demeter, though she grieves each time her daughter descends, comes to accept the truth. Persephone is no longer just her child. She is her own person, powerful, complete. And in the underworld, the dead speak of their queen with reverence. She is kind, they say, fair, stronger than Hades in some ways, softer in others. Together they are balance itself. One evening, as Persephone and Hades sit in their garden, surrounded by blooming darkness, she asks him a question. "Do you regret it now? All of it, the choice you made, the pain it caused?" Hades considers, his hand intertwined with hers. "I regret the way it began," he says. "I wish I had been braver, wiser, less afraid. But the outcome?" He looks at her, and his eyes are soft. "No, I could never regret you." She smiles, resting her head on his shoulder. "Good, because I don't regret you either." And in the quiet of the underworld, where love bloomed in the darkest of places, they sit together, king and queen, death and life, darkness and light, eternally intertwined. There is a lesson in their story, if you care to find it. Love is not always bright. It is not always easy or simple or pure. Sometimes it is born in shadow. Sometimes it grows from pain, from loneliness, from the desperate, aching need to be seen by someone, anyone who understands. Hades and Persephone's love was not perfect. It began with theft, with fear, with choices stolen and consequences unforeseen. But it became something more. It became a partnership, a balance, a merging of two worlds that were never meant to touch but found in each other something essential. Persephone learned that she was more than the bright blooming thing the world wanted her to be. She had depth, darkness, power that came not from light, but from embracing the shadows within herself. And Hades learned that he was not doomed to eternal solitude, that even a god of death could be loved, could be seen, could be more than the role he was assigned. Together they created something new, not spring, not death, but the cycle itself, the eternal dance of growth and decay, of beginnings and endings, of light fading into shadow and shadow blooming into light. And that is the truth of their story. Love is not about choosing light over darkness. It is about embracing both. It is about finding someone who sees all of you, the bright and the broken, the beautiful and the terrible, and choosing to stay anyway. It is about transformation, about becoming something more than you were because you dared to descend into the unknown and found waiting there, not a monster, but a mirror. And so the story ends where it began, in darkness, in stillness, in the quiet places beneath the world where a god sits, no longer alone, and tends to the endless work of death with gentle hands and a full heart, because he is seen, because he is loved, because, in the end, even the god of the underworld deserves his spring. Rest now, let the story settle into your bones like sleep. Let it whisper to you of love found in unexpected places, of choices made in darkness, of queens who ruled not in spite of their shadows, but because of them. And when you wake, remember, there is beauty in the dark, there is love beyond fear, and there is always, always a choice to descend and become whole.